All right, we are live. I just read this, by the way. First of all, Fable included until June 22. So Anthropic has just launched Fable Fi, and it's amazing. Fable Fi is here. I don't know why they call it Fable Fi, and why not just Fable 1? I think they're trying to do the same thing where just to avoid a lot of confusion, straight Fable 5, because now we are in the series where everybody pretty much is around 5. Wow, I think I spoke a lot today. I had too many conversations today. I feel like I need to rest my voice. But anyways, I read a really nice quote over here. We all are walking each other home. What does that quote mean? With Bokeh, I've set up this one automation for sending me one good quote from Eastern spirituality every day. And today we had this. So let's see. Ram Dass. Most beloved lines, it works on a few levels. Home is a metaphor for death, or in Ram Dass's framework, a return to something larger than the individual self, the soul's origin, God, oneness, however you want to frame it. We're all mortal, all headed to the same destination. None of us gets out of this alive. None of us is more advanced on the journey in any ultimate sense. The walking each other part is where the warmth comes in. Since we all are on the same road, our real job isn't to compete, fix, judge, or serve one another. The walking each other part is where the warmth comes in. Since we all are on the same road, our real job isn't to compete, fix, judge, or save one another. It's simply to accompany each other. Since we are all on the same road, our real job isn't to compete, fix, judge, or save one another. It's simply to accompany each other. To be good company. It reframes every relationship from a marriage to passing kindness with a stranger as an act of mutual escort. You hold my hand through your hard stretch, I hold yours through mine. There's also a quiet humility built into it. Ram Dass spent his life as a teacher, yet the code dissolves the hierarchy between teacher and student, helper and helped. The dying person and the caregiver, the therapist and the client both are walking, both are going home. Dissolves the hierarchy between teacher and student, helper and help. The dying person and the caregiver, the therapist and the client both are walking, both are going home. It resists the idea that anyone is purely the giver or purely the receiver. People often turn to this code in grief, hospice work, and caregiving because it transforms those painful situations into something tender. You're not losing someone or being burdened by them, you're walking them home a little further than they could walk. Find me some Find me the most interesting poems on finding home, seeking home. I don't know why I say interesting. Find me the most beautiful poems. It should be beautiful. Why is it interesting? Navigating copyright constraints while curating evocative home seeking poetry recommendations. What a lovely thread to follow from Ram Dass. Here are some poems that this is it. You're looking into Nietzsche today, and what makes sense? What makes sense after all this is, where are you? Nietzsche. Nietzsche, where are you, Nietzsche? So, what makes sense is music, philosophy, art, theater. So we get out of our own way, get out of our own way. We are free to dismantle capitalism, create institutions, create new habits, create new outlooks, create new ideas. Okay, basically, Nietzsche says be an artist, create your own values, music, philosophy, theater. I wrote it somewhere, I forgot. Okay. What a lovely thread to follow from Ram Das. Here are some poems that approach home from genuinely different angles. I can't reproduce the poems themselves for copyright reasons. Derek Walcott, Love After Love. Okay, then find me link. I don't know why I'm using Fable for a query like this, for finding poems and stuff, but I guess it's working. I guess it's working. Itaka, CP Kawaki. The classic on seeking drawing on Odyssey's journey, and makes the case that Ithaka's gift was never the island itself but a long voyage toward it. The destination exists to justify the road. Very close in spirit to walking each other home. The devastating counterpoint, possibly the perfect companion to the Ramdas code, imagines the moment you finally arrive home to yourself, greeting yourself at your own door like a long lost friend. The radical idea is that home isn't a place or a person, but a reunion with the self you abandoned while loving others. The radical idea is that home isn't a place or a person, but a reunion with the self you abandon while loving others. Find me. Find me the OG links. Let's go. We value your privacy. Love after love. In West Indies, Derek Walcott received the Nobel Prize in Literature 92. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit, feast on your life. Feast on your life. Wow, this is beautiful. This is exactly what I felt when I went back home. This is what I felt. A very simple thing that I remember is bhindi, okra, ladyfinger. A very basic dish, sabji, dish. And I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Wow. It reminds me home. The simpleness of bhindi reminds me of home. Because bhindi doesn't exist in the West. Nobody's cooking bhindi. Bhindi. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself arriving at your own door in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you ignored for another who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit. Feast on your life. Feast on your life. This is beautiful. Feast on your life. This trip back home really felt like homecoming. The food, really breaking myself down. Really, if my goal is to be less rigid, then I just really pushed myself to be less rigid. Really pushed myself to be less rigid and adapt, let loose, let loose, let loose. I'm thinking of this beautiful song right now. Ho na tha pyar by Atif Aslam. Home. British Somali poet Warsan Shire gives voice to the experiences of refugees in a poem about home. Born in Kenya to Somali parents and lives in London, she's a poet, writer, editor, and teacher. She was the Young Poet Laureate for London. Conversations about home at a deportation center. A piece inspired by a visit she made to the abandoned Somali embassy in Rome, which some young refugees had turned into their home. She told the reporter that the night before she visited, a young Somali had jumped to his death off the roof. The encounter, she says, opened her eyes to the harsh reality of living as an undocumented refugee in Europe. I wrote the poem for them, for my family, and for anyone who has experienced or lived around grief and trauma in that way. Across the media, it has been read in a range of public spaces, including London's Trafalgar Square. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. No one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark. You only run for the border when you see the whole city running as well. Your neighbors running faster than you. Breath bloody in their throats. The boy you went to school with, who kissed you dizzy behind the old tin factory, is holding a gun bigger than his body. You only leave home when home won't let you stay. No one leaves home unless home chases you. Fire under feet, hot blood in your belly. It's not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burned threads into your neck. And even then you carried the anthem under your breath, only tearing up your passport in an airport toilet, sobbing as each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. It's not something you ever thought of doing until the blade burned threads into your neck, and even then you carried the anthem under your breath, only tearing up your passport in an airport toilet, sobbing as each mouthful of paper made it clear that you wouldn't be going back. You have to understand that no one puts the children in a boat unless the water is safer than the land. No one burns their palms under trains, beneath carriages. No one spends days and nights in the stomach of a truck, feeding on newspaper unless the miles traveled means something more than journey. No one crawls under fences. No one wants to be beat and pitied. No one chooses refugee camps or strip searches where your body is left aching, or prison because prison is safer than a city of fire, and one prison guard in the night is better than a truckload of men who look like your father. No one could take it. No one could stomach it. No one's skin would be tough enough. The go home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants. The go home blacks, refugees, dirty immigrants, asylum seekers, sucking our country dry with their hands out, They smell strange, savage, messed up their country, and now they want to mess ours up. How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your backs to mess ours up? How do the words, the dirty looks, roll off your backs? Maybe because the blow is softer than a limb torn off. This is so interesting. A poem can carry so many interesting technology, politics, emotions, psychology, philosophy, art. Oh my god. Or the words are more tender than 14 men between your legs, or the insults are easier to swallow than rubble, than bone, than your child body in pieces. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. I want to go home, but home is the mouth of a shark. Home is the barrel of the gun, and no one would leave home unless home chased you to the shore. Unless home told you to quicken your legs, leave your clothes behind, crawl through the desert, wade through the oceans, drown, save, be hunger, beg, forget pride. Your survival is more important. No one leaves home until home is a sweaty voice in your ear saying, "Leave. Run away from me now. I don't know what I have become, but I know that anywhere is safer than here." I'm from Somalia, where there has been a war going on for my entire life. I grew up with a lot of horror in the backdrop, a lot of terrible things that have happened to people who are really close to me, and to my country, and to my parents. So it's in the home, and it's even in you. It's on your skin, and it's in your memories and your childhood. And my relatives and my friends and my mother's friends have experienced things that you can't imagine, and they have put on this jacket of resiliency and a dark humor, but you don't know what they have been victims of or what they have done to other people. Them being able to tell me, and then me writing it, it's cathartic. Being able to share their stories, even if it is something really terrible, something really tragic. Sometimes I'm telling other people's stories to remove stigma and taboo so that they don't have to feel ashamed. Sometimes you use yourself as an example. Poetry Foundation, Ithaca. As you set out for Ithaca, hope your road is a long one, full of adventure, full of discovery. Lystri- Lystrigonians, Cyclops, angry Poseidon, don't be afraid of them. You will never find things like that on your way as long as you keep your thoughts raised high, as long as a rare excitement stirs your spirit and your body. Lastrigonian Cyclops, wild Poseidon, you won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. You won't encounter them unless you bring them along inside your soul, unless your soul sets them up in front of you. Hope your road is a long one. May there be many summer mornings when, with what pleasure, what joy, you enter harbors you're seeing for the first time. May you stop at Phoenician trading stations to buy fine things, mother of pearl and coral, amber and ebony. sensual perfume of every kind, as many sensual perfumes as you can. And may you visit many Egyptian cities to learn and go on learning from their scholars. Keep Ithaca always in your mind. Arriving there is what you are destined for. But don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years. So you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Don't hurry the journey at all. Better if it lasts for years. So you're old by the time you reach the island, wealthy with all you have gained on the way, not expecting Ithaca to make you rich. Gave you the marvelous journey. Without her, you wouldn't have set out. She has nothing left to give you now. And if you find her poor, Ithaca won't have fooled you. Wise as you will have become, so full of experience, you will have understood by then what these Ithacas mean. Wow. Wow. On seeking, its gift was never the island itself, but the long voyage toward it. Voyage. The destination exists to justify the road. Very close in spirit to walking each other home. I think this is again the interesting thing that we read about art. That the goal of art is to give you a dishonest fantasy. That makes life look beautiful because life isn't beautiful. Oh my god. Maya Angelou. Carry the home within you. Margaret Johnson. St. Louis, Missouri. Lying. Thinking. Last night. How to find my soul a home where water is not thirsty and bread loaf is not stone. I came up with one thing, and I don't believe I'm wrong, that nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone, nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. There are some millionaires with money they can't use. Their wives run round like banshees. The children sing the blues. They have got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone. Oh my god. They have got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone, but nobody, no, nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone, nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. Now, if you listen closely, I'll tell you what I know. Storm clouds are gathering, the wind is gonna blow, the race of a man is suffering, and I can hear the moan, because nobody can make it out here alone. Alone, all alone, nobody but nobody can make it out here alone. They have got expensive doctors to cure their hearts of stone. Find me this one, Maya Angelou. Letter to my daughter. I want this one. Quick clarification. The daughter she never had. The good news. My life has been long, and believing that life loves the liver of it, I have dared to try many things, sometimes trembling but daring. Still, I have only included here events and lessons which I have found useful. I have not told how I have used the solutions, knowing that you are intelligent and creative and resourceful, and you will use them as you see fit. You will find in this book accounts of growing up, unexpected emergencies, a few poems, some light stories to make you laugh, and some to make you meditate. You may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud. Do not complain. Make every effort to change things you do not like. If you cannot make a change, change the way you have been thinking. You might find a new solution. Never whine. Whining lets a brute know that a victim is in the neighborhood. Be certain that you do not die without having done something wonderful for humanity. I gave birth to one childless son, but I have thousands of daughters. You are black and white, Jewish and Muslim, Asian, Spanish speaking, Native American, and Idiot. What is that? You are fat and thin and pretty and plain and gay and straight, educated and unlettered, and I am speaking to you all. Here is my offering to you. I think it's the same one. It goes from chapter 1 to chapter 3. What? At 13, I joined my mother in San Francisco. Later, I studied in New York City. Throughout the years, I lived in Paris, Cairo, West Africa, all over the United States. Those are facts. But facts to a child are merely words to memorize. My name is Johnny Thomas. My address is 220 Center Street. All facts which have little to do with the child's truth. My real growing up world in stamps was a continual struggle against a condition of surrender. Surrender first to the grown up human beings who I saw every day, all black and all very, very large. Then submission to the idea that black people were inferior to white people who I saw rarely. Without knowing why exactly, I did not believe that I was inferior to anyone except maybe my brother. I knew I was smart, but I also knew that Bailey was smarter. Maybe because he reminded me often and even suggested that maybe he was the smartest person in the world. The South, and stamps in particular, have had hundreds of years' experience in demoting even large adult blacks to psychological dwarfs. Poor white children had the license to address lauded and older blacks by their first names or by any name they could create. Thomas Wolfe warned in the title of America's great novel that you can go home again. I enjoyed the book, but I never agreed with the title. I believe that one can never leave home. I believe that one carries the shadows, the dreams, the fears, and dragons of home under one's skin, at the extreme corners of one's eyes, and possibly in the gristle of the earlobe. Home is that youthful region where a child is the only real living inhabitant. Parents, siblings, and neighbors are mysterious apparitions who come, go, and do strange, unfathomable things in and around the child, the region's only enfranchised citizen. Geography, as such, has little meaning to the child observer. If one grows up in the southwest, the desert and open skies are natural. New York, with the elevators and subway rumble, and millions of people in southeast Florida, with its palm trees and sun and beaches, are to the children of those regions the ways the outer world are, has been, and will always will be. Since the child cannot control that environment, she has to find her own place, a region where only she lives and no one else can enter. I'm convinced that most people do not grow up. We find parking spaces and honor our credit cards. We find parking spaces and honor our credit cards. We marry and dare to have children and call that growing up. I think what we do is mostly grow old. We carry accumulation of years in our bodies and on our faces, but generally our real selves, the children inside, are still innocent and shy as magnolias. We may act sophisticated and worldly, but I believe we feel safest when we go inside ourselves and find home, a place where we belong, and maybe the only place we really do. Wow. We may act sophisticated and worldly, but I believe we feel safest when we go inside ourselves and find home, a place where we belong, and maybe the only place we really do. The death of the hired man. What is that about? Mary sat musing on the lamp flame at the table, waiting for Warren. When she heard his step, she ran on tiptoe down the darkened passage to meet him in the doorway with the news and put him on his guard. Silas is back. She pushed him outward with her through the door and shut it after her. Be kind. She took the market things from Warren's arms and set them on the porch, then drew him down to sit beside her on the wooden steps. When was I ever anything but kind to him? But I will not have the fellow back. I told him so last haying, did I? If he left then, I said, that ended it. What good is he? Who else will harbor him at his age for the little he can do? What help he is there's no depending on. Off he goes always when I need him most. He thinks he ought to earn a little pay, enough at least to buy tobacco with, so he won't have to beg and be beholden. All right, I say, I can't afford to pay any fixed wages, though I wish I could. Someone else can, and someone else will have to. I shouldn't mind his bettering himself if that was what it was. You can be certain. When he begins like that, there's someone at him trying to coax him off with pocket money. In haying time, when any help is scarce, in winter he comes back to us, I'm done. Warren, she questioned. Dead, was all he answered. This is too long. Delivered is an argument between a husband and wife about whether a dying farmhand deserves shelter. The poem stages two competing definitions: home as obligation versus home as grace. It's essentially the Ramdas quote dramatized, someone literally being walked home to die. Discovering you already belong, the world announces your place in the family of things, no penance required. For people who feel they must earn a home, this poem says otherwise. About how loss teaches you what shelter between people really is. Pairs beautifully with the walking each other. Oh, pairs beautifully with the walking each other idea. Ocean Wonk. Someday I will love Ocean Wong, a contemporary descendant of Walcott's poem about making a home in a self and a body that history tried to make uninhabitable. Ocean. Oh, oh, it's gone. Okay, all good. That's the stream.